Ever since the beginning of gaming, there was always a guy as the main protagonist in every storyline a player would experience. This particular choice has left us with legendary characters, such as Master Chief, Doom Guy, Solid Snake, Agent 47, and so on. However, that does not mean that female lead characters cannot be just as memorable and as badass as their male counterparts. If you think of female protagonists, you probably can already picture Lara Croft, Samus Aran, or maybe Aloy. But there are so many other female video game characters that deserve to be talked about. I'm Josh, welcome to HotFix Gaming. Here are some of the best 10 video games with badass female leads. 10. Gravity Rush. Gravity Rush was the reason why many players went out of their way to buy a PS Vita when it first launched. Nowadays, it's a bit easier to get your hands on the game, as it's been remastered for the PS4. In a nutshell, Gravity Rush is a superhero origin story. Our blonde protagonist, Kat, falls from the sky, wakes up with no memory, and finds that she can alter gravity with the help of her astral cat named Dusty. As evil globs of reddish-black muck called Nevi invade Kat's adoptive home of Heckville, she learns to master her powers, going from outcast to savior. 9. Heavenly Sword. One of the first big releases on the PS3, Heavenly Sword quickly captured the attention of players, not just because of the female protagonist, but also because of its martial arts-inspired combat and heavily impressive presentation. The game's story revolves around the titular Heavenly Sword, a weapon said to have been wielded by an unnamed heavenly deity against the demonic warlord known as the Raven Lord. Once the Raven Lord is defeated, the blade ends up in the care of a tribe. Among the tribe, a legend said that the sword's original owner would be reborn in the year of the Fire Horse, and that this figure would reunite the world's scattered tribes and lead them to the Promised Land. And that's where the protagonist, Nariko, comes into play. Born as per the prophecy, Nariko has to face the skepticism of her clan, as well as guard the sword she's been entrusted with. Can she fulfill the prophecy? 8. Bloodrayne 2. A button-smashing action game, Bloodrayne managed to gather quite a fan base thanks to its main character, some interesting level design, an interesting storyline, funny and sometimes memorable dialogue, and of course, the ability to do unrealistic and shockingly gory things to people. What more could a gamer ask for? The badass female protagonist of this game is the daughter of the vampire Kagan and an unnamed human woman, making Rain a so-called Dhampir. Believe it or not, Rain's character was inspired by an existing terminal reality-created character, the Dhampir Svetlana Lupescu, who appeared in their 1999 game Nocturne. Rain is also the first video game character that appeared in Playboy magazine, particularly in the October 2004 US edition as part of an article entitled Gaming Grow-Ups. 7. Lollipop Chainsaw. Following high school cheerleader and zombie hunter descendant Juliet Starling, Lollipop Chainsaw is all things pink and girly mixed in with the gory details of zombie slaying. Armed with her trusty chainsaw, with her sidekick by her side, the severed head of her boyfriend, Juliet must stop a zombie outbreak at her local high school. As Juliet, you earn gold medals for killing zombies, smashing objects, and saving your classmates. With these medals, you can purchase new moves and combos, as well as items that increase Juliet's stats, making her a force to be reckoned with amongst the zombies. If zombies, gore, and a bit of pink sparkle is your jam, this is really the perfect game for you. 6. Returnal. When you think of really good roguelikes, your mind might drift to things like Hades, Dead Cells, and Slay the Spire. PlayStation and Housemarque's Returnal, however, adds some excellent female representation to the genre, having you play as astronaut Celine Vassos, voiced by Hitman's Jane Perry, who must unfold dual mysteries while on a planet affected by a time loop. Part of that mystery is tied to an ancient and strange home, popping up throughout the loops that certainly doesn't belong on the alien planet. Atropos is also filled with alien swarms that attack Celine in bullet hell-like fashion and has many bosses for her to fight on her quest for answers. In a nutshell, this game is a third-person shooter with roguelike elements and a very interesting set of 10 different weapons you can use. While most of these weapons fill the expected roles in a shooter, several others are wildly inventive. There are many more possibilities for each weapon, which will give each one of your playthroughs a distinct flavor. And if you're enjoying this video so far, let me know by hitting that like button. 5. Bright Memory. Bright Memory is a first-person shooter and a hack-and-slash game that features a protagonist named Shelia, who works for the Science Research Organization. Her goal is to try and prevent a military organization from reawakening the dead. It takes place in a riveting and graphically gorgeous location called Land of Sky, which is home to many ancient beings. Surprisingly, this game is the work of just one developer, Zheng FYQD Xiancheng, used Unreal Engine 4 and worked on Bright Memory in his spare time. One of Bright Memory's greatest strengths is its combat. Gunplay is fast and frenetic, and Shelia has plenty of abilities at her disposal to make use of as well. Her EMP blast suspends enemies in the air, for some reason. She has a sword that whips out energy beams and can do a ground pound attack. Her dash ability allows her to quickly dodge attacks. She has a grapple ability that she can use for traversal, but also to launch herself into enemies. Of course, all of these abilities come with a cooldown period, which balances gameplay, and there are others to be unlocked too. 4. Stellar Blade. A PS5 exclusive, Stellar Blade launched to much controversy, all due to its main character Eve and what was initially perceived as an over-sexualization of a female protagonist. Once the title was released, however, many complained that some of the more revealing outfits that were showcased before launch were nowhere to be found and obtained within the game. Some players even signed a petition for Sony to bring in those outfits. But aside from all that, Stellar Blade stands out as a gorgeous and well-crafted action game with very impressive strengths and some very clear weaknesses. Both its story and characters lack substance, and some of its RPG elements are poorly implemented, like dull side quests that very often require you to retrace your steps through previous levels. But its action picks up most of that slack thanks to the rock-solid fundamentals of its Sekiro-inspired combat system. A deep well of hideous monstrosities to sharpen your sword against, and plenty of hidden goodies that do a great job of incentivizing exploration throughout. 3. Nier Automata. Nier Automata presents you with a story I'm pretty sure you've heard somewhere else before. It's the distant future, and the Earth is in ruins. Machines have replaced mankind, and therefore they must be destroyed. Cue the ethical dilemmas, the friendly machines, etc. However, even though this game will give you lots of things that you might expect or predict, it will also throw you in some crazy twists that you won't see coming. To make matters even crazier, Nier Automata has 5 main possible endings, all of which would take you 3 playthroughs to get them, so you can have fun for longer. Nier Automata is a crazy, beautiful, and highly entertaining journey full of nutty ideas and awesome gameplay. It may not include the most sensical story or compelling characters, but its frenzied combat coupled with beautiful visuals and a stunning soundtrack make it too much fun to pass up. 2. Resident Evil 2 and 3 Remastered. Resident Evil 2 received rave reviews when it launched, and it even won multiple Game of the Year awards. This shouldn't come as much of a surprise considering how well made the game was. It has 2 protagonists in Leon S. Kennedy and Claire Redfield. Claire has long been considered an iconic video game character, especially in the Resident Evil series. She's a renowned badass who people can't help but love. In this game, you get to help her escape Raccoon City from the plague of infected. A remake of Resident Evil 3 followed in the footsteps of the Resident Evil 2 remake, with Jill Valentine taking the lead role alongside Carlos Oliveira. Like Claire, Jill has always been a very popular character in the series. In the remake, you play as Jill after she's attacked in her apartment by an intelligent bioweapon called Nemesis. The game is all about Jill's escape from Raccoon City and the pursuit by Nemesis that almost kills her. Some gamers prefer the characters in Resident Evil 3 over the ones in Resident Evil 2, but play for yourself and find out which you prefer. Number 1. Bayonetta. While she might be all skimpy clothes, suggestive comments, and the occasional streak, Bayonetta is undeniably a tough woman. Unafraid of everything she comes up against, she doesn't cower in the face of danger. In fact, she laughs at it, kicks it, and grinds it into the dirt with her high heels, which are also guns and sometimes swords. Bayonetta has fun in every moment of combat, and you have fun right along with her. Her posh English accent and her librarian glasses wonderfully juxtapose her frantically murderous actions. Her obsession with style melds perfectly with the obsession of the game itself with substance, making for a perfectly balanced action game. Combat in the Bayonetta series is quite similar to Devil May Cry. Players are encouraged to explore many different ways to dispatch enemies with as much flair and style as possible. You can use a combination of both melee and long-ranged attacks, complex combo strings, and multiple weapons, and get as creative as you want. Bayonetta can basically equip any combination of weapons on her hand and feet, and you have one attack button for hand attack and one for feet attack. The combat system is very deep with many different combos to learn, and learning the combos and adopting those into your playstyle can be a very rewarding experience. Every weapon is unique and adds a different set of combos, so there can be a lot of variety in how the game is played. What other games with tough, badass female protagonists have you enjoyed recently? Let me know in the comments section below, and I might make a part 2 out of it. And in the meantime, if you enjoyed gaming content and want more, be sure to check out the videos linked on screen.